Welcome to Your Sport Swindon. I'm joined by Paddy Fitzpatrick, Swindon trainer, and his new weekly column. Paddy, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, brother.
It's a good year last year. It's going to be an even better year this year. Tell us about what you've got planned.
Next show is on in March at the Oasis Centre. Myself and Keith. We got Eamon O'Kane, main event, defending his IBF Intercontinental. Duke is a chief support over 8, and then stacked on the card with Garvey and Ryan and Sniper, and I think Kelly Morgan might be on it, so she draws a lot of attention and excitement, so a good show to look forward to.
Excellent. Talk to us a bit about why Eamon's coming back to Swindon.
Because they like him. Because people in boxing knew him here a year ago, but then people outside of boxing knew him after his last fight here, because it was a thrill-a-minute 6 knockdown fight. He got dropped once, the other guy got dropped 5 times, and there's been a little, people have been saying, when's he back next, and we had the fight for the final eliminator for the IBF, which we didn't get the decision that we wanted, rightly so. The right man won, but we didn't get what we wanted from it. But another second fight, it was a brutal fight, and since that fight people have been saying, when is he out next? So this is it now, get him back on the horse in March.
And will he be defending any sort of title?
He's IBF Intercontinental title. He's still ranked number 8. He dropped down a couple of rankings, obviously coming off the loss. But he's still ranked number 8. He has a title that gains people a world ranking, so it's a title that people, are interested in fighting for.
And opponent-wise, any thoughts? I know you were targeting Nick Blackwell at one point.
Well, targeting him, not necessarily targeting him. What it is Eamon is ranked just behind Nick. The only guy in front of Eamon is John Ryder, who Nick has already beaten. And that's definitely a fight that we would like. I heard that he was out beginning of the year, and we had the show in March, so we could have done it for the Intercontinental and the British title. Nick is going to be, I think he's mandated now, Eubanks is supposed to be fighting him, but that purse got won for an extraordinary amount of money for a British title, so I'm not too sure if that fight will happen, and if it does, good luck to him. Good luck to both men. If it doesn't, we're right there, and Eamon would love to have a pop with him. Like Eamon said the other day, he'd love to start the year with a bang bang. But I got a lot of respect for Nick, but Nick and Eamon in a ring, you wouldn't need a very big ring. They'd come to the middle of touch gloves and they probably wouldn't move out of that position, so it would definitely be a fan-friendly fight.
And would you describe that fight as a 50-50?
I would, yeah. I'd definitely describe it as a 50-50. Eamon has proved his class as an amateur in near, I think it's 200 odd fights he has, or 300 odd fights, whatever it was, as an amateur. He's proved his class in that. He's proved his class as a pro. Yes, we fell short at the final hurdle for a world title eliminator, but this is the fight game. That's what happens. He is world class. Nick, I don't think, being disrespectful to say, he's an overachiever, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean it in a compliment. He had no amateur experience, and the only men that he has lost to in the pros are quality men. So, and you put a belt around his waist, and the same thing happens to him as anybody else. You start to actually realise there's proof to the belief that you have in yourself. So he's got better and better. So that would be a pick'em fight, definitely a pick'em fight, but definitely a fight we would love, and definitely a fight that I think anyone that likes a good fight would love to watch.
Excellent. Also on the bill in March, you mentioned Ryan Martin and Garvey Kelly. Obviously a lot of talk last year about that fight happening. Ryan didn't fight in December. Garvey did, unfortunately got the defeat. But I believe the fight is still on the cards. Yeah,
why not? Why not? It's not like they've got 20 or 25 fights on and they're both waiting for a title opportunity. Neither man has fought anybody. They've both had 6 fights. They're both welterweights from the town. You, at this stage, are trying to gain experience, but also you're trying to build a fan base, because I don't care how good you can fight, if you can't sell tickets, nobody wants you. So you're still trying to build a fan base as well. So what better way to build a fan base in your own town than to have a local derby and get people interested in a fight that normally wouldn't watch boxing. And that's what this fight does. It's a local derby, so it's a good opportunity for both men to add to their fan base, and that's what you need. I wanted to wait till December originally because I wanted to build it and get more momentum behind it. Ryan wanted it sooner, and judging off of Garvey's last performance, I thought that he undersold himself. He was complacent, and complacency can only kick in if there's that spark is missing for some reason. Well, you couldn't let complacency kick in if you're having a local derby, not especially when everyone in the town is going to be having an opinion on it. So I think June is a good time. We can't do it in March because that show is too stacked. There's no point in them fighting over 6 or 8 rounds. Pointless. Swindon has never had 2 professional fighters face each other in the ring. It is a first. It would get people in the town really interested. The next big show we have is June, and then Ryan and Garvey fight in June. I've yet to hear back from Keith as to Ryan's answer on it, but Keith has said yes, I've said yes, Garvey said yes. There's only one man missing, so I'm sure he said he wanted to fight sooner. Well, just like I say, main event in a big show, perfect.
So the ball's obviously in Ryan's court. I mean, I know for a fact Ryan's trainer spoke to me immediately after Garvey's fight and said that's the end of that. So that could possibly be the reaction you're going to get from the camp. So what would you make of that if that's what they come back with?
I make very little of what he says. It's like the Prince Patella coaches. There's a lot of talking. Not really interested. Couldn't care. If Ryan wants to listen to him, that's fine. Ryan turned down a fight at Christmas because his coach said the fight was too easy. He's turned down another fight last week because some other reason. It's a fight game, you gotta fight. So there's 2 local men to town that everyone wants to see the fight. Simple.
Well, let's hope Ryan takes it, and I'm sure he will. What could be on the line for that fight? We talked Southern area before. You talked about an Irish title. Could there be anything on the line, or will it just purely be bragging rights?
Well, if there was something on the line, I would like it to be something of some significance, but it also has to be then if the men qualify for something of significance. So the Southern area title, there's a man who holds it at the moment. It can't be for that. If rumours are right, that man might be moving on to an English title. If he isn't, it becomes vacant. If Garv gets winning in March and May, the Board of Control might then look at that and say, okay, those 2 men can fight for the Southern area. If they do, that's great. The other thing I suggested was for the Irish title. Garvey's roots are Irish. I'm not sure if Ryan's are. I thought some of them were. I might be wrong. But Garvey'd be very excited about fighting for the Irish title because it's part of his heritage. The feedback I got that Ryan wasn't interested in fighting for an Irish title. Don't know why you wouldn't be interested in fighting for a title of a country when you would fight for a title that he fought for in October.
The challenge.
Yeah, challenge belt. I wouldn't be interested in them fighting for that. I think that underplays the significance of the fight in the town. I'm not trying to pretend there's no big world title fight, but it's a fight between 2 good men in a town where boxing is gaining lots of momentum, and it's a fight where will garner lots of interest. It already has, and it hasn't happened. It's got lots of interest. Why would you want to do it for a belt that doesn't meet the significance that it has just in a fight as itself? So we're not going to fight over 8. It will be a 10-round fight, main event. And if the worst thing it's for is bragging rights, that's good enough. You want to get attention. You don't want to have fights like this under the radar. There's no point in having them. If you're going to have a fight in the town, a local derby, and that, you don't want it, like I say, flying low. You want people paying attention. So 10 rounds as a main event, get lots of attention. Both men then have the opportunity to have extra fans and move on then with their career, and the other man then has to get back on his horse again. It's worth it.
Originally, you and Garvey were looking for the fight to be December. Now you're looking 6 months earlier.
Yeah.
So why the change of heart?
I kind of answered that just a second ago. It's down to Garvey was complacent in the last one, and I don't see why any fighter has room for complacency. Some fighters have it because they see themselves as being so far advanced as anyone they're facing on the way up that they don't need to be at their best in order to win. I would hate for that to be Garvey's mindset, because it's definitely not something that I preach to my fighters. Plus, Garvey does not have a significant amateur background that he can have that type of belief in himself that should make him complacent. But for whatever reason, he was. You know, in certain aspects of his training, he gives 100% in the gym, but he wasn't 100% of it on time. He gives 100% to the gym, but he wasn't 100% on his diet. You know, he made weight perfectly, everything was fine with that, but your diet isn't just about making weight. Your diet is what feeds your brain too, and helps your body to react and helps you how to think. So there was complacency in there. I'm not a fan of that, and I don't see it as being a benefit to anybody. So why not now put him in a position where you have no room to be complacent now? You're in a fight where everyone's going to have an opinion, and Garvey will start off the underdog without a doubt. So there's no room for complacency. I believe in Garvey's skill set. I've seen him fight for 8 years. I know what he's capable of doing. It's not a fight that he can't win. I'm sure that Ryan also believes it's not a fight he can't win. So that's it. It's the reason to bring it forward.
Was it a little early in Garvey's career to have got complacent, to have lost the motivation?
Most definitely, yeah, without a doubt.
Does that concern you? And how do you only get that back with the prospect of a fight like this?
Yeah, you do. There's no reason why you should be complacent. I don't think any man should, but like I said, I understand why certain men do. They have so much proof of what they're able to achieve through the amateurs, and so much proof, say, of what they already achieved as a pro, and then they just don't believe that the men that they're facing are up to their level as yet. That's one thing. Garvey doesn't have that proof behind him, so he shouldn't be some complacent. So now this fight will put him in a position where that complacency can't kick in. He can't afford to have it kick in. He doesn't want to have another loss, and he definitely doesn't want to have a loss to somebody in the town where the probably general consensus would be that he is going to lose. So simple. But I wouldn't be putting him in a fight that he can't win. So we'd like it. So let's do it.
That was going to be my final question to you. Was the majority of the town, on the basis of the two records and what happened before, at the December show, is that Ryan is the favourite going into this fight. What's your case for Garvey winning in June?
His skill set. He's got a good skill set. People's opinion doesn't win fights. People's opinion, 2 years ago was that George was going to get sent home in 2 or 3 rounds when he fought Carl. And then 8 rounds later, 20,000 people was just stood on their toes applauding him as he left the ring. Opinion is just that, and most people's opinion is built up not by their own knowledge, just by listening to other people's opinion. So opinion does nothing for me.
So Garvey win then?
Huh?
Garvey win then?
50-50 fight. Yeah, 50-50 fight, and I believe that Garvey can win. Like I said, I wouldn't put him in a fight that he couldn't win. Now it's just up to us to prepare completely, not be complacent in any way, shape or form, and do it on the night.
That's excellent. Thank you for joining me, Paddy, as always.
You're welcome.
To the next one.
Yeah, man, peace. All right, brother.